Just tore him, man. I fucking ripped him. I ripped him. Yo. What the fuck is y'all doing? How y'all feeling? How are you all living, baby? It's so good to be back. Welcome back to the stream. I'm just gonna come on and say it right here, right now. Friday's a holiday. We don't stream on Fridays. Oh! Friday's a holiday. We don't stream on Fridays. Oh! Yep. We got it out the way. But man, look, it is so good to be back. It is so good to see so many beautiful faces with us on the stream today, man. How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? How do you do? Oh, fuck. It was a long weekend. It felt like a dude. It was like Pride Week in New York, in NYC. And dude, it was insane. Like, I mean, there was at one point of the day, I went to Washington Square Park. Took a little day trip, went out around there, and I mean, bro, there was like 50,000 people. Like 50,000 people. Like, I've never seen anything like it in my life. Dude, I don't want to ban you. Don't make me do it, dude. Do not make me fucking do it, man. Don't make me fucking do it. The stream just started. Don't make me fucking do it, dude. Do not make me do it. I don't want to do it, man. I don't want to do it. It's a fucking Monday. It's a short week. Cortisol's in a good place. Don't make me fucking do it, man. Do not make me do it. Don't make me do it, man. All right, look, we have a lot to talk about. There actually is a lot that happened this weekend. There's a lot that went down. Okay. I took like one day off of stream, and I come back, and Ansem has like, I don't know. We're doing meme coins again. We're doing crypto again. So we have a lot to get into. We have a lot to cover. It was a crazy week in New York City. It really was, dude. It was fucking. I mean, I saw more people than I've ever seen in any singular place. All In Podcast dropped an episode. Jenny episode, by the way. I've pretty much got to the point where the only people worth listening to are the All In Podcast, Dylan Patel, and Gavin Baker. And by the way, I have some IRL friends, and I have some like IRL like normie friends, and we were going to meet a friend of a friend for his birthday, and I'm like, what's his name? And he's like, Dylan Patel. And I'm like, really? Dylan Patel? And he's like, yeah, you know him? Yeah, I do know him. He's famous, yeah? And the guy was like kind of famous. And I'm like, all right, let's go. He is kind of famous in our little bubble. And I go meet Dylan Patel, and it's not Dylan Patel. So that was a little bit disappointing, but he was very cool. How are you not watching Brazil Japan? I just bet on it. I have money on it, but I'm not watching it. No, threadguy is Avi Patel. Different person. All right, we have a lot to get into, we have a lot to cover. Let's talk about it. On that note, who is here? Roll call, baby. Roll call. D-Nap, what's good? Rectal, what's good? Pudgy, what's good? Kevin, Hannah, what's good? Zari, what's good? Cole, what's good? Mass, what is good? Greg, what's good? Cosmic, Kira, Gerlin, what's good? Lino, what's good? Poca, what's good? Little Live TV, NASDAQ, 27X, good day for you, brother. 27 days, 27 nights. Mac, what's good? 40 got a K. Baby, what's good? Coney, what's good? Alex, what's up, homie? Wolfie, what's good? All right, we have a lot. Look, we have a lot to cover, so just like give me a fucking bear with me today. Saylor Save Bitcoin, Solana's back, Memory is back. There's like a lot to get in. I have my favorite fit in a while. Apple wants to buy Memory from China. I have a bunch of crypto topics. We have All In Podcast. We have Cerebrus topic. We have South Korea and not the soccer team. We have stocks, AI, Mark. I have like a million, JD Vance. I have a million things to talk about. First thing I want to start with is, where is it? Okay. You know, I'm on a big reading kick right now. My latest pick. This book is so fucking good. And it really blows me because I'm not a Nate Silver fan. For whatever reason, I don't know him that well, to be fair, but on his tweets alone, I'm not a huge fan. I don't really enjoy his tweets. I think he's kind of annoying. I've never like maybe I haven't given the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not really a Nate Silver fan. I'm just not. I would come out and say it. Well, I wasn't. I wasn't. He's just like not a great tweeter. He just like says stuff I don't like, and usually if I disagree with you, I just don't like you. And I tend to disagree with him a lot. I think maybe not, but I think I do. And so I've had this book sitting. Okay, so watch it. This is the story. The book's sitting on my desk. I have a lot of books. I buy a lot of books. And I wanted to go to this wine bar on Saturday night because I was really bored and I wanted to read. And I'm thinking about like what book can I go performatively read that's like approachable. Like what book is approachable if I'm performatively reading it at a wine bar? And I'm thinking, and I'm looking at my options, and my options are like More Money Than God, and I'm like, no. Reminiscence of a Stock Operator, read it 3 times. Market Wizards, no, when it's like too hard to focus on. I have a book like The History of Gambling. I'm like, probably not. The Bible, probably not. I'm like going through my list of books. I'm like, fuck, they're all just like trading. Like, what could I go performatively read that could maybe get approached? And I'm looking, and then I found this On the Edge, Nate Silver, and I only the Bible would be insane. And the only reason I have this book is because Andrew Yang back there was like, you have to buy this book. And I'm like, all right, fine. You know, Andrew Yang, my goat, is going to come on stream. I'll buy the book that he tells me to fucking buy, of course. And so I'm like, fuck it. I'll go read On the Edge, Nate Silver, and I'm gonna fake look at it for a couple times, and I'm going to go find my girlfriend, and then we're going to forget the book ever happened. Well, narrative violation, because I sit down and I start reading, and it's incredible. I mean, it is like incredible. Like, it is so unbelievably, shockingly good that I woke up and I canceled a meeting today so I could go sit at the coffee shop and read it. I read 150 pages in 2 days. That's a lot of pages. They're not like light pages either. Like, they're like real deal pages. I read 155 pages in 2 days, and it is so fucking good. Okay. And it's basically all about poker and game theory, at least so far, the first half. It's all about poker. It's a lot of lore. Like, if you like, threadguy is back from a packed NYC weekend, greeted chat, and is diving into a full slate of crypto topics between Bitcoin, Saylor, and meme. Is that a bot? What the fuck what is that? What is that? Who just typed that? How did you just do that? So it's all about like poker theory, kind of like not how to play poker, but more or less like the lore behind it. Okay. And it's so good. Do you all know about the Jack 4 hand? And so, okay, so I'm reading this book, and I've had poker kicks before, but I never like took it very seriously. I just like to gamble a little bit. And I was like reading it. I'm thinking to myself, okay, who plays poker? Because poker, like, there's a lot of, damn, you timed him out. There's a lot of parallels between trading and poker. It's the most glorified parallel ever. But poker, I think, is more quantity for sure. Like, the good poker, it's more quantity, I think. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, is there anyone that plays poker the same way that Chris Camillo trades stocks? And the answer is yes, and it's Alan Keating. And I forgot about Alan Keating. And so I spent the rest of the day watching Alan Keating aura clips, and it is so insanely electric. I have no words to describe it. So I watched the Jack 4 hand, which is crazy. And then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, man, if the Jack 4 hand where they thought, I forget her name, the woman cheated on a Hustler stream, was the same like month that Hans Niemann, Magnus Carlsen happened. And then I'm sitting here thinking about it, and I'm like, man, there's really no game in the world that if the stakes get high enough, you don't feel like it's being cheated. It's actually impossible to know. Markets are the same way. Like, stock market, like, there's actually no game that you can play with perfect odds and it's not getting cheated. But Nate Silver has this interesting like game theory discussion where he's like, it's actually not in the casino's best interest to cheat. It's actually, game theory wise, it's actually a bad idea for the casinos to rig. Because if they rig the games, you subconsciously feel the fact that they're rigged, and then you start going to other casinos. But if you are rigging the games at your casino and other casinos find out, or they just like feel it in the numbers, they end up finding out, they also have to rig it, and then it's like a race to the bottom. It's like undercutting China open source token costs. And so I don't know. It was a cool little excerpt. But the one thing they talk about is, do you know what famous man has failed in the casino industry more than anybody? Like what famous businessman and politician has burned more money trying to make a casino work than anyone in America? Who else other than Donald J. fucking Trump, bro? Failed 5 times in the casino industry. And so I was like, wait, what? And so I was diving into lore and I found this. 1999, the grand opening of the Taj Mahal Casino Resort. Donald Trump and Michael Jackson, brother.
If the Taj Mahal Casino is the 8th wonder of the world, on that day it seemed the beloved...
They're calling it the 8th wonder of the world.
Glove one ranked 9th. 75,000 fans nearly swept away supermodel Elmer.
75,000 people lined up in Atlantic City for the opening of Trump's casino in 1990.
Taj Mahal, he's my friend.
Michael was his ultimate trump card.
To have Michael at the Taj Mahal, he's my friend. He's a tremendous talent, and it's really my honor. It's a big day for me.
The power duo took us along. The $100 chip.
Look at this, bro. Atlantic City.
To dice with Lady Luck up close when Donald escorted his superstar guests to the High Rollers penthouse suite. Of 1,250 deluxe accommodations on $1 a day, super marbled floors, special visitors are given the key to a $10,000 a day super suite.
That's hard to even spend 10,000. No way Brazil won. I have a lot of money in this game. Did they actually? Brazil core. Oh!
Verbal Doan. Nu het Zonas. Gabriel Memecoins.
Oh! Let's fucking go. Now I can focus. All right. So the thing about Trump in Atlantic City, they told this story, and I'm gonna move on. They told this story where I had a lot of money betting that game, actually. I gave my homie like a little bit of money 3 weeks ago when the World Cup started. And he's just been rolling it over, hitting, hit Spain, hit USA twice, just hitting. But they tell this story where Trump on the first weekend, they got their first they had this like Asian billionaire come to the Taj Mahal to gamble. And it was the first high roller at that entire casino. And he's playing $200,000 hands of Baccarat. And they said Trump cleared the gaming floor and he's pacing up and down, sweating every single hand this guy puts down. Every hand, he's like looking over and he's sweating it and he's freaking out. And he's like talking to the dealers and is tweaking. And the Asian billionaire was like, fuck this shit. I feel pressure. I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. And then that was the end of Trump. So 3 failed casinos. Never knew it. Crazy lore. But shout out to Nate Silver. All right. One more topic related to gambling is 9-year NBA veteran Malik Beasley has been indicted on federal charges for gambling related to a sports betting scheme such as point shaving and prop bets. His attorney, Steve Haney, tells ESPN the government is coordinating a voluntary surrender of Malik Beasley this week. Malik Beasley, if you are an NBA fan, is a pretty good NBA player. Legitimate starter in the league, and he's going to federal prison, bro. Like, he's going to jail, I think. He's going to jail. And this is the third instance of this in a very small amount of time. You have Malik Beasley, you have Brendan Sorsby from Texas Tech, and then you have Jonte Porter, who Jonte Porter was fucking around on his own player props, and it was a small amount of money. They just banned him from the league. Malik Beasley was like point shaving on big games. Rozier too. Yeah, you have 4. You have 4 in a year. Was point shaving on big games. And so on this topic of conversation, the biggest games in the world, there's no way to know if they're being cheated. If anything, you should proceed forward as if they're all being cheated a little bit. It's crazy. 4 of them in the last year on the sports side. Also, you had the poker ring of Chauncey Billups. Yes. Chauncey Billups and all of these guys were running a fake poker ring, and all of them are going to federal prison. And the problem with investigating the league is the NBA in every major sports league is heavily incentivized to see gambling get massive. Because look at what they're doing right now. It's this. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I'll just search it. Look at this. Bob Iger from Disney and Josh Kushner have hired investment bankers to discuss making a bid for the NBA expansion team in Las Vegas. They're coming for the league is coming for Vegas. Every league is coming for Vegas. You got the Raiders in football. Every sports league is coming for Vegas. It's the gambling capital of America, and all of the players are gambling on the games. And there is this really weird, perverse incentive where it's not that hard for them to gamble on the games and kind of keep it low key. And the NBA is really incentivized to push gambling as hard as possible. And then you get these edge cases where, like, yeah, bro. I mean, there's one of them. There's this one clip of Malik Beasley. Look at this. Spread. Watch this real quick. The spread is plus 8.5. Okay. They're down 8. There's 5 seconds left. They're down. Watch this. Watch this. Spread's 8.5. They go down 9. There's 5 seconds left. Look at him go. No one does this. You don't do this.
Beasley's going to get it off. One last shot.
Like
How about Beasley?
You don't do this. That's not a thing that you just dribble the ball out. Everybody just dribbles the ball out. That's not a thing that you do down to 8 with 5 seconds left. Game's over. And so sports leagues have a huge problem. They have a massive problem because, again, just like the casino thing, Nate Silver is, if you hurt the integrity of the league, people don't want to bet anymore, then the whole thing is just done. The whole thing is done. And the thing about it that's so crazy is, like, yeah, these guys owe bets. A lot of them are in debt, whatever. Like Malik Beasley contract is like let's see. Okay, let's go like this. Malik Beasley, he actually had a minimum. Total earnings. Bro, he's made $60 million in the league. $60 million. He made 60 mil in the league just off salary, not counting endorsements, not counting anything else. He just made $60 million just off salary. And he's point shaving on games. Like that is the type of greed to talk about in the Bible, and you always get got for it. But the pro sports leagues, I think, have a problem. They have a big time problem, and it's relatively unsolvable. And the reason it's unsolvable is because they can't dial back on it, because Americans spent over $165 billion on sports last year, which is more than they spent on movies, books, concerts, and sports tickets combined. I remember a time when ESPN and these broadcasts weren't allowed to talk about gambling at all. Like, it was like forbidden. You could not talk about sports betting on the broadcast under any circumstance. No way. There was none of it. There was none of it. And so it's crazy to see. But on that topic, I have a solution, okay? I have a general solution of where these people are going to go, especially when they start to feel burned in sports betting over and over and over again. And it starts with this clip, okay? This is an important clip, one of the most important clips we'll ever watch on stream, and it's a Toki clip, which I know.
The plan was to put 400,000 into like a condo and a few $100,000 into stocks. And they're showing me the condo options. Like, this one's cool, whatever. You rent it out and you'll make a few $1,000 a month. A few $1,000 a month? The f I'm gonna do with a few $1,000 a month? And then the stocks apparently average, you know, it's like 9%. Not a week, not even a month, a year. Those returns are offensive. I'm not saying it's a bad use of your time if you want to be a nerd, Caleb Hammer, and make 9% on your money. That's just not me. So I've kind of decided to forego the whole invest the money situation. I've made a new game plan, a way better game plan. I'm gonna go ahead and roll all the money over into another soccer game. That way I can double up again.
Okay. I actually think it's an important clip because sports betting has one-shotted the entire like everybody sports bets, okay? Everybody sports bets, and has trained the younger generation's brain to think in doubling up, tripling up, plus 300, plus 500, plus 1,000 parlays. Like the new generation that's familiar with risk taking thinks in doubles, triples, quadruples. They do not think in 5%, 10%, 1% a month. But at the same time, they've been brought into this structurally minus EV game. Like as a default, sports betting is minus EV, but it also programs your brain to think about doubles, triples, 10x's, 50x's, 100x's. It's very similar to crypto in the upside, and it's very similar to being really good at stock picking and the upside and the volatility that we're seeing right now in the markets. The only difference is that you can actually win. And so I think this speculative urge that the emerging generation has developed via sports betting would be so much better allocated trying to understand equity markets, trying to understand crypto, and trying to understand like trading and investing principles. The biggest problem is that there's no the biggest problem is that there isn't this super mainstream, cool, and relatable like trader. Okay. And I think the reason there isn't this super cool and mainstream trader is because trading isn't baseline cool and the results are too slow. Like it takes too long. Sports betting, if you want to double up on Brazil, you get an outcome in 90 minutes and you get to watch the game. Trading, like even to hit the micron 600 to 1200 trade, you would have had to sit in that thing for like 3-4 weeks. And that was a ripper for stocks, right? You went from 500 million, $500 billion to $1 trillion, 600 to 1200 or whatnot. That was a up only ripper, but it took like 3 weeks. And so there's a little bit of a gap in this where new generation wants now in bigger returns. But the reality is they can get them in the stock market. I think you can get it from stock picking and investing. You can get it from leverage products. You can get it in crypto. And what I think is going to happen is the smart ones that do well over a long period of time are going to move over to investing in trad markets because there's just more options, more spots to take a risk, more upside. But they're going to move markets, but they're not going to be able to unprogram their brain from 2x's, 3x's, 4x's really fast. And so what's going to happen is you're going to continue to see markets trade the way they trade right now. NASDAQ moves 2% every day. Kospi is limit up, limit down every single day. The riskier, Micron moves 10% every day. Intel moves 10% every day. And I think that these moves are going to just happen this way forever. Like you're never gonna see less volatility in markets. There'll be bull markets and bear markets. There'll be expansion and de-expansion. That'll happen. Compression, de-expansion, compression. But these people and the smart ones that graduate out of like sports betting and think, okay, word, this other game is way bigger. Obviously, at a default, you want to play the biggest game possible. You're gonna pick a better game, but you're not gonna be able to change how your brain thinks in larger outcomes. And so I think it's an important clip to understand this generation where it's like, yeah, what the fuck am I doing with 2% a month on real estate? Even Graham Stephan was like, fuck this shit. What am I doing with LA real estate? Fuck this. I'm making 1% a month. That's the real estate. That's the value investing real estate guy. Is like, fuck this shit. Brother, sold all my real estate. I mean, this is like the guy for this. This is like the value invest. This is like the modern Dave Ramsey. This is like the guy on buying real estate. He's like, fuck that. These real estate gurus, it's not enough. I really believe it's not enough for the new generation, and they are just gonna fucking hammer risk. But you can pick better risk, right? You could get risk across. You can get risk anywhere. You can get risk in poker games. You can get risk at the casino. You can get risk on slots. You can get risk on sports betting. You can get risk on crypto, on wherever you want it. You could pick better risk. Okay, it's no longer a volatility problem because I have a where's this tweet I want on the Kospi? Look at this. This is where we're going. South Korea has triggered 5 market-wide trading halts in 2026. against only 11 such full market halts since the system's 2000 inception. Brother, it's been halted 6 times since 2000. It's done 5 in 2026. You think markets are going to get more or less volatile? Nearly half of all market-wide halts this century have occurred this year. The rapid proliferation of highly leveraged single stock ETFs on Samsung and SK Hynix has turned the Kospi into a giant self-reinforcing feedback loop. This is the reality. And I also think, like, sports betting is like a gateway drug to taking smart risk. Because I think, you sports bet because it's fun, but a lot of people, I think there's a decent amount of people that sports bet because they think they can beat it. They really think they can beat it. Some people are just retarded. Some people are just dumb and have no chance. But some people believe they can beat it and get kind of systematic with it. Like, I have some friends that really get systematic with it. Like, they really are, like, thinking about lines and odds and changing books and beating spreads. Like, I have some people that really go a little quanty with it. Like, they don't realize they're doing it. Those people are portable. They will lose in sports, and then they will think to themselves, I want to play a better game. I want to play a game I can beat. And beat is what they will do. Okay, one more intro topic, 2 more intro topics. I don't want to spend that much time on these, honestly. I'm just going to give the take, and I'm going to skip over it. Slot Bowl is one of the best things that ever happened to America, and it's just objectively a good product. It's objectively a good product. I don't know what else to say on the Slot Bowl thing. It's popular because it's a good product. There's no other take. Now, here's one more. Is the first time I've seen a pro JD Vance headline since pre-Iran war. JD Vance raised $4.2 million at a Silicon Valley dinner last night, hosted at All-In podcast host Chamath's house. The dinner was co-hosted by John Underwood of Goldman Sachs, and about 24 supporters paid $250,000 each. JD Vance was a principal at Peter Thiel's VC firm between 2016 and 2017. It's the first time I have seen a positive JD Vance headline, I think, since the Iran war started. As it currently sits, we have Vance at a little bit of a bump, actually, from that. 20% to win the 2028 presidential election. Rubio's odds peaked at 16% during the height of the Iran war. Man, look, they may try to force Vance in as he's like kind of like the face of Silicon Valley and tech. And a lot of these tech bros who have deep pull and influence in politics might try to force Vance in. It's just so obvious to me that inner Trump circle wants Marco Rubio to win. They want Marco Rubio to win. And every time there's a good thing to happen related to geopolitics, they send in Rubio. Anytime there's something that has a high failure rate, they send in Vance. It's that simple to me. Like, it's just that simple. If something good's going to happen, Rubio does it. If something bad is going to happen, Vance is in charge. And he cannot control that. And so Chamath and the All-In and these SV guys can do whatever they want to try and force Vance in. But it feels like Trump and Trump admin and cronies related to government are doing whatever they possibly can to get Rubio in. And so I made a bet on this a while ago. It's small size, so I don't really show it. But Vance, no, on Polymarket to win, and Rubio, yes, from like 5% maybe. So I don't know. It's the first positive thing I've seen about JD Vance. But notice Trump, you never see Trump say anything good about Vance, ever. Says nothing good about Vance. I agree, by the way. He lacks the oomph. He lacks some fucking oomph to make it happen. So that's where we're at. Damn, I was waiting to buy SpaceX above 160. I was so ready to buy SpaceX above 160. Let's do a quick SpaceX topic, and then we got to get in some real ones. SpaceX after NASDAQ 100 boost. It joined the NASDAQ 100 on July 7th, triggering an estimated $4 billion in passive fund buying. It also entered the Russell 1000, while the S&P kept its 12-month waiting rule. Separately, it is in talks with Charter Communications on a consumer wireless service. I think SpaceX looks fucking sick right now. 4 hour, I think it is. It looks really good. Yeah, look at 4 hour. This chart looks unbelievable. I wanted to buy this so bad. I didn't do it. I wanted to buy this so bad today. I didn't do it. I still have IBM, which looks awesome as well, must admit. But it is good to see SpaceX get a little bit of juice. And here we are with crypto and our first topic of the day. Solana is up 6%. Hyperliquid is up 7%. Zcash 7, Bitcoin 1, and Ansem is running meme coins on Solana right now with a chart that looks like this. Yeah. $98 million. Chat, yes or no? Have you bought this, held this? Give me some vibes before I give you some takes. Your biggest trade of the year. Congrats, Quant. I called it in the pit at 50. You were late. Instance 5 mil. Might be your best suit, by the way. Thank you. And at 18 mil size. Good for you, Quant. A lot of people are in this. A lot not. Also, oh, forgot YouTube gang. If you're on YouTube or Twitter, you want to chat, Twitch.tv/threadguy. Top traders in your chat, I think. Not me, but your boy. My boy. Who's top trader? He's made how much? 500K. All right. All right. We can watch this, I guess, to set the stage.
One day, what are you gonna get arrested?
And I'm gonna give you some takes. I have a few takes. You might not like. You might. I don't have like the greatest hot takes ever, but I have some takes. We'll start with this.
One day, what are you gonna get arrested?
Yeah, it's because he's the coldest nigga breathing. And he probably bought Solana at $1.50.
Ansem is in federal custody.
I'm bitched up, I drip when I walk. I'm bringing pressure around when I walk. I kick the bitch out of G, told her walk. Yeah, I jump on you, beat.
One day, what are you gonna get arrested?
Yeah, it's because he's the coldest nigga breathing. And he probably bought Solana at
Ansem is
$1.50.
in federal custody.
I'm bitched up, I drip when I walk. I'm bringing pressure around when I walk.
All right, I'm gonna be honest. I missed this whole thing. Like, I was actually up. What happened at 5 a.m. on Saturday, like Sunday morning? 4 a.m., 5 a.m. on Sunday morning, if I'm not mistaken, was when this thing really started going crazy. I kind of missed the inception. I was actually awake. I was awake, which is crazy. I was awake at 5 a.m. on Sunday morning doing hooligan shit, but I was not trading crypto, which I suppose I should have been. And I was awake. And so I don't exactly know how this was incepted. There was like a coin, it was made for him, and then he just sort of maxed endorsed it, started talking about an airdrop, and you know, a couple tweets led to a couple tweets, led to a couple tweets, and now we're here. And we have Ansem meme at 100 mil. First and foremost, there's enough good tokens that exist already, but I'll airdrop a portion of the creator fees that have been directed to my pump fund profile. So Rasmus said you are busy chasing mids. That's actually true. We were chasing mids. I was chasing. That's exactly what I was doing, by the way. Yeah, I was. Like, I can't even. I missed Ansem meme coin because I was chasing mids. I was up at 5 a.m. on Sunday. Just gonna be honest. She might watch the stream. No, she's following. I'm sorry, but that's like exactly what I was doing. Is what it is. But all right. First and foremost, Ansem motion unparalleled. Like, I gotta just, guys, I'm reading his tweets right now, and there is 1 million impressions on every single tweet. Like, his motion is unparalleled. So I didn't trade it, and there have been moments where I've been inclined to slam 100 mil market cap coins. Like, I slammed cards once upon a time. I slammed White Whale once upon a time. Like, sometimes there have been spots where I've been implored to buy memes really, really high in top last. I just like can't get myself to buy this. And I think my main take is more related to Solana than it is Ansem coin. And my take on Solana, like my meta take on Solana, is that the bull case for Solana making a new all-time high or really being back cannot be the resurgence of meme coins. I just don't think it can be the resurgence of meme coins for Solana. It can help. It can add some market cap. It can add some price, but I just like don't think it's sustainable. It's just a little bit confusing to me because I feel as if Solana has been pushing tokenized stocks, perps, RWAs, apps, launch your business on Solana really, really hard. And if there was going to be a narrative to rip them back to all-time highs, I think it has to be that for Solana specifically. And I think going all back in and relying on meme coins is a step back for Solana. Not even referring to Ansem Coin Direct. I'm just saying in general, it feels like Solana can't take the next step unless it really gets real volume on these other verticals. And so here come all the comments. Threadguy, you hate crypto. Da 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 da. Fuck you. This is my take. I don't hate meme coins. And I actually think that there's the other end of the barbell, which is like pushing for the abolishment of memes. And I actually believe that meme coins have a standing in markets forever. I don't think meme coins will ever die. I think this is about your floor and they will just continue to exist. There will be a pocket that always trades them. There'll always be trenchers. They'll get hot, they'll get quiet, they'll get hot, they'll get quiet. But the problem with a thing like a meme coin is when you find a ceiling, it makes it tough. And I think we found a ceiling with Trump, which is obviously many, many X's from here. But I just think for Solana, in order for me to get ready to bid Solana, the coin, I need to see up into the right RWA volume or tokenized stocks or ETF inflows or something that isn't meme coins. For me, not for you, but for me. That's my take. And so I was just a little bit confused is the word that I was using. I was a little bit confused by this weekend. That's my take. I was a little bit just like, wait, what's going on? Like what? I don't know. Like in 2026, I was just like, wait, what? What? With that being said, and we had like a debate on our morning call on like what my take would be on this whole thing. With that being said, I am in no position to come and be the dictator of like good coin or bad coin. So our situation is things at $100 million, and a lot of people made a lot of fucking money, and I'm not one of them. I'm just not. In the same way, it's like, yeah, I declared the white whale dead, and that thing went to $150 fucking million right in my face, up at the right. I held 2%. I sold it at 5 mil. And so with that, if you made money on this, GG. Because I think the number one learning that I've had taking crypto skills and applying them to stocks is that being good means you're good. It means you're good in if you're good, you're just good. It means you're good in markets. You could trade crypto, you could trade on chain, you could trade app coins, you could trade RWAs, you could trade stocks, you could trade memory, you could trade Korean stocks, you could trade Chinese stocks. If you're good, you're fucking good. End of the day. And so if you're some like great stock trader and then there's an on-chain coin that rips 100x in your fucking face, and you can't recognize it as a buying opportunity at 5 mil, you have a blind spot. It's called a blind spot. I used to have one with perps, and now we've worked on fixing it. And so that's where I stand with the whole thing. Is like I'm kind of staying out of the way of it just because maybe I am jaded. Maybe I am jaded. I don't know. There's this story that Stanley Druckenmiller was put in control of one of the funds that he worked for very, very early on because his boss told him, you're too new, you know nothing, and you cannot be jaded yet. And the reason that is helpful in Stanley Druckenmiller's case is that when you're in a turbo up-only bull market, having battle scars hurts your returns because sometimes you have to fucking close your eyes and stay long. In a turbo bull market. That's why a lot of first cyclers really outperform on the way up. They just do. It is like if you're old and you're jaded and you're unk, a lot of times you get punished for being old, jaded, and unk. That's just like the way life goes. And so that's my take. I'm a huge Ansem fan. I didn't trade it. Is what it is. But I think as it relates to, aren't you mad because you didn't give you can I use the R word? That's my take. That's my take. Is like your ability to trade is the ability to trade all markets. All markets. So shout out to Quant, man. You are a sharp. You are really a sharp. But with that being said, I do want to look at a little bit of Solana. I'm more interested in Solana I'm more interested on talking about Solana than any individual coin, but I do want to play a clip for you. Let me see if I can find it. From Jez. What's Jez's Twitter? Wait. Hold on. I'm gonna play a clip for you real quick, and then I'm gonna watch a few. We're gonna talk about Solana a little bit. We're gonna start with crypto today. We're gonna do MSTR too. We're gonna finally ready to look at Solana after writing it off at the lows. I flipped neutral at the lows, if you remember. If everybody here recalls, I flipped neutral. Whatever. I can't. Oh, here it is.
Always.
This is my general take on anything in the market. I've graduated from trying to pick winners and losers and whatever in between.
Guys, respect the pump. The pump, always, guys, respect the pump. I respect the pump in all assets. Why? Because it's kind of like karma. You know, the power of the pump always comes back to you if you respect the pump of other people. It's crazy, but I have this belief that whatever pumps, you have to pay respect. Because otherwise, if you like, oh my god, this scam coin is pumping again, actually you are kind of rejecting the pump from your life. Maybe it's a bit out there, you know, woo-woo, but we all gotta believe in something, and I do believe in the power of the pump. It's kind of like, you know, let the pump be with you. I went to bed yesterday. I told you guys on Twitter, good night and let the pump be with you. Okay, this is how I see. It's like this force. It's like this force that is all around us. And if you are really inviting the pump into your.
Anyways, now what I do think is that what would get me ready to really rip Solana is if I saw some chart that had RWA volume or tokenized stocks volume that I felt like was real going up and to the right. This would get me ready to slam Sol.
I think on Solana, I think Solana is the most performant and cheapest blockchain to do anything on, which means that it's the best place for builders and best place for retail to trade on. And I think that you can enable not just applications like Hyperliquid, which is a decentralized perps exchange, but also applications in all the other consumer areas. And that was my thesis on Solana in 2020 and 2021 when there was very little, not 2021, 2023, when there was like very little on-chain trading activity. I'm like, yes, but it's still the most performant, cheapest chain. And it enables all these things that haven't happened yet, but they can happen in the future. And then Memecoins popped off and a few other applications popped off. And I think generally, if you believe that in a society where stablecoin payments are going to become a lot more popular, if AI is going to become a lot more popular, AI agents are going to become a lot more popular, the amount of value that's transmitted on open blockchains is going to only go up and to the right. And Solana is the best L1 blockchain that can enable all these things. And obviously, Sol should benefit from all that activity. And I think we're at the very beginnings of seeing breakout applications on chain. Like we've really only seen a few do really well. You name some of like the startups that have done well, like Phantom, like what other ones I think you mentioned, like Magic Eden, a few other ones, Gito, Jupiter. There's been a few breakout apps on Solana and just in crypto, but I think the total addressable market is just so much larger, and there's so much that can grow there in that area. It's going to only increase interest there. I think kind of what people are under indexing on also is like crypto does a great job of proving like human verification, and in a world where there's all these AI agents and all this I guess AI agents putting all this data online, it's like it's going to be really important to prove like what data and what information is being put out through humans, and crypto should be one of the places that benefits from that very directly. That's general thesis on Sol.
By the way, you want to talk about special situations? Ansem going all on a meme coin is definitely a special situation. You got to be flexible across all markets. This is what I want to get really good at. That is a special situation if I've ever seen one. Rare spot. You got to be able to do it across all markets. This is what I want to get really good at. Is just see it, identify it, and rip. See it, identify it, and rip. See it, identify it, and rip. So one thing that's a little confusing to me is pump revenue. I felt like should have been way higher. Their buyback amount was like less than 50% more. It's like 30% higher. It was a little bit narrative violation for me on pump. Like no, but like look at these. This is all 50% buyback. And so I was kind of expecting to see, you know, a 2-3x on pump fees, and because this, you know, here's what I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out, am I buying a buyer of pump fund here? Like, is this a trade that I want to make on perps leverage with some size? Am I a buyer of pump fund? And I convinced myself no. but it definitely moved into the interesting list again for me. It moves into the interesting list. It's up like 5% today. It's still, I mean, it looks terrible. That maybe was like a sweep of the lows kind of thing. It objectively does not look good. And they have a lot of unlocks in a couple weeks. And so what I was trying to figure out is like, okay. TG, seriously, why Pump or Soul didn't interact with him yet? It's gonna pump. So what I was trying to figure out is if Pump Fun comes out and announces an airdrop at what is basically the Pico lows, is it a bid on the airdrop? Because the obvious thought is more unlocks, more supply hits the market. Maybe it's a sell. I sort of convinced myself that it could be a bid if that happens. Because okay, you got to assume it's gonna happen. Because I don't know, there's so much noise behind it right now. You got to assume it's gonna be relatively close. It feels like the universe is telling us it's relatively close, and it is gonna happen. I believe it's gonna happen. And I have no info that you don't. But if they do the airdrop, what I would imagine you would see is on the announcement, there would be crazy on-chain volume on Sol because everybody would be thinking about front running and trying to get some last minute, like, points or activity on their wallets in. And then second is I do think it matters that you fix a lot of the sentiment problems, probably. Like if they announced an airdrop and maybe some on-chain proof of their buyback guarantees or just some level of security around what they're going to do with the token for further buybacks, further unlocks, just some level of confidence to traders, I think you could see this thing reverse relatively quickly. Again, the problem for me though is it's still just meme coins. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm jaded and wrong about this or if I'm correct that I think there's just a really low ceiling on like new memes right now. And I don't know what it would take for me to flip on that. Like, I think there's just like a lot of capital that's just like completely unwilling to trade the memes. I don't know what it would take for me to flip on that. And so I sort of convinced myself that there is a long trade to be had when Pump announces the airdrop. Like, what happened to other coins on Ansem? Like, Carge is down. Clyde actually was doing well, but it's fine. Asteroids dead. Neat kind of got vamped. Like, yeah, yeah. It's basically the Ansem coin, is it? And so I kind of convinced myself that you could long Pump Fun maybe on the announcement of the airdrop, although that would probably be traditionally bearish. It's definitely a special situation spot. Now, is it going to be profitable? Like, what do you think? Are you a buyer or seller or uninterested if they announce an airdrop? I don't really know how to think about it. Also, YouTube, Twitter, if you want to chat, twitch.tv/threadguy. The problem is you also don't know how much money is going to hit the market. And they're also going to be airdropping to a lot of megapores. I don't know how else to frame it. A lot of megapores, like straight up. A lot of people that have lost it all or have no money, really are in desperate need. Third guy, you need to be more bullish in crypto. We need you a lot. Yeah, but it's a lagging indicator. People being bullish in crypto is a lagging indicator. It's like you kind of need to see it happen, and then I'm down to start trading tailwinds. I have hype right now. I'm long hype because I want to convince myself. I want to convince myself that there is some real tailwinds happening in crypto. The problem is I think it's all I don't think it's that real, okay? And one of the things that we're going to look at now is MSTR for the stock guys. So Bitcoin is up. I mean, oh God, it's up a little bit. Okay, we're up 1.3% on BTC. Stretch is up 12%, back to 84. And MSTR is up 13%, back to 92. But man, oh man, this chart looks so horrid. So it's up on an announcement that was made by Saylor and Strategy, okay? And if I understand this correctly, feel free to interrupt me if I do not. But they announced 4 things today, which has led to Bitcoin pumping a little bit, Stretch pumping a little bit, and MSTR is up 13%. Biggest gainer on my stock port. They announced 3 things. First thing they announced is a USD reserve policy. And they announced that they will always, at all time, have a company policy. Let me zoom in for you. Have a company policy where they will maintain a minimum USD reserve equal to at least 12 months of current expected annual preferred stock dividend payments. So they will always have 12 months of dividend runway for Stretch. Always. Company board policy. They will always have this much. So if you're buying Stretch, you know that at the very least, from the point where you buy, will have 12 months of coverage on hand. Right now, they have 17. Okay? Right now, they have 17. So that was the first thing they announced. They announced 4 things. All of them seem to be relatively inconsequential, but that's the first thing announced. The second thing they announced is that they will be increasing the dividend that comes with buying Stretch preferred stock, STRC, after July 1st to 12%. So that's 50 bips increase. It was 11.5, but they will be upping it to 12% of dividend. And I believe they said that they will not be adding it after this. Additional capital. Dividend rates are one tool. Company may respond to market conditions. Strategy will not necessarily increase the Stretch dividend rate solely because Stretch trades below its stated amount. Okay, they didn't say they're not going to. They did not say they're not going to increase it, but they did say that they're not necessarily going to increase it if price gets worse. So that's second. The third thing they announced, which is what the smart people wanted to see as their best option, is that they are going to be buying back $1 billion of Stretch, which I believe is like 10% of the supply. Also 8% of STRK. I don't even know what that is. It's like a derivative off of Stretch. I don't even know what STRK is. I have no clue what that is, actually. Preferred stock. I actually don't even know what that is. I'm sorry. I'm doing this to the best of my ability. This thing's a mess. They don't exactly say when they're going to do it, but they say how they can do it. And they're buying back $1 billion worth of Stretch. And so that gave the market some confidence to bring this back to, like, where are we on Stretch? Like 83, but I mean, not great. So it got that back to 83 at the very least. And then the last thing that they announced, 2 more, sorry. They also announced a repurpose program for $1 billion of strategy. And they said that they're going to stop diluting, at least for now. Wait, let me actually get the exact. Let me get the exact. There's 2 more things. Let me get the exact verbiage on this, because I think it's important we get this right. What does this article say about future dilutions of MSTR? Fuck. Huh, it's Tyson's Corner VA. I didn't even know that. I grew up near there. Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, so they basically said that they're going to be really careful issuing new MSTR. They didn't say they're going to stop issuing it. Yeah, I am from Nova. They didn't say they're going to stop issuing it, but they said they're going to be very careful about it. And the 1 MNAV level is, like, very important for them. In addition, they announced they're going to buy back $1 billion. And then the last thing that they announced is that they may be and are willing to sell $1.25 billion worth of Bitcoin to fund the USD reserve. And so basically, they are always going to have 12 months of cash to fund Stretch dividends. In order to fund the stretch dividends, they have 17 right now. In order to fund those, they're willing to sell 1.25 billion worth of Bitcoin. They're going to stop diluting MSTR, definitely under 1. They really care about the number 1 level. They're going to increase the stretch dividend from 11.5 to 12, and they're willing, prepared, and able to sell $1.25 billion worth of Bitcoin. Now, the thing about this that's a little bit uncomfortable is that $1.25 billion of Bitcoin is a lot, but you're forgetting that they owe $1.7 billion in annual dividends forever. Until the end of time, they owe $1.7 billion in annual dividends. And they can either do one of two things, which is dilute MSTR, which they're saying they're going to stop doing because they're in a death spiral, or they're going to sell Bitcoin. And so we're probably going to get to a spot where the market is just going to have to be comfortable with Saylor selling Bitcoin. That's just a thing that happens is Saylor sells Bitcoin. And you're never going to get rid of them, at least not for a long time. We're not going to just get, there's no liquidation price. There's no deleveraging spiral price. Saylor is just going to be a thing that exists within our universe for the inevitable future. And so the market reacted as I guess you could expect it to. It liked, strategy liked it. Bitcoin, like, whatever, stopped going down. And Stretch is sort of still stuck in no man's land. And we are stuck with Saylor. Like, really stuck with him. Could he be safe? Could be safe if he OTCs to someone big and it doesn't hit the market. Yeah, but someone's got to buy it. So, yeah, they're explicit that selling Bitcoin is a core part of the strategy. The reserve is now 2.5 billion in 17 months. They'll top it up through Bitcoin sales when it gets to 12 months, only to be used for debt service. Stretch dividend is up to 12%. Covered that. But raising dividend on a distressed issue seems to me like sprinting on a broken ankle. That's a really good take, by the way. Raising the dividend on distressed issue seems to me like sprinting on a broken ankle. Also, raising dividend on something that won't get back to par seems pointless. 1% is wow. Okay, $1 billion of strategy is 3% of the market cap. Actually, that's crazy. It's a lot. So that's why people stopped selling and shorting. Like, that was obvious stop. I mean, if you're short strategy, that's an buying back 3% of supply in the open market is an obvious reason to stop shorting. Makes sense. That's a big number. I didn't realize that's how big it was. 32 billion. Yeah. 1 billion, 3.2%. That's a lot. What else is in here that I missed? Yeah, nothing else. I mean, that's wow. This article got posted. It was up 1.5% on open, and then it ripped. Let's see how the chart looks. Wow, you actually had a good amount of time to long. Special situations, man. This is a spot. I've sort of like not paid that much attention to the strategy thing because I think I'm just like I'm not a huge fan of a trade that has like a really small ceiling and the pain stopped for like a little bit. What's up, Mando? Where the pain stopped for a little bit, but you had some time to long this. On this bottom candle, you had 13% in a straight line. Also, I added an indicator to this list. We're calling it Z score. And it basically like I don't know if this is the best one, but it basically like shows irregular volume candles. So like I think above 3 is meant to be significant. And so like this candle, it doesn't matter if it's green or red. Green is a lot of volume, red is not a lot. And so it shows you like this candle right here had like a huge diversion of volume pop, but it was market open, so it's a little bit like wonky. Also, Mando fucking crushed strategy short. We got to go over this just because I tell everyone I think he's the best trader on Twitter and people don't believe me. Here it is. So he closed the MSTR short on the weekend. They didn't show off the dividend yet, but he's signaling he'll move to buy back discounted prefs and cancel them. I still think it's a slow-moving car crash for MSTR shareholders, but any trigger for water collapse has just been extended. This is the problem. I do not see the situation as bullish for crypto. It is now a toxic scenario that could drag on for a long time and affect confidence. Yeah, we're basically in a really... It's like... I'm trying to think of an analogy. It's like you have like a really toxic like mistress. You kind of have like a really toxic mistress that you're like hooking up with, and she's like threatening to tell your wife, and you're like in a really rough spot. And so you kind of keep doing it, but if you do it, she's like threatening to tell your wife. If you don't do it, she's threatening to tell your wife. It's like some like it's like a blackmail situation, I think is kind of what's going on. And everyone's like frozen. Hype at 6-7. I know I'm long hype. I am long hype and IBM. My only two. Been long IBM for a fucking while now. Where's SpaceX? Oh my god. I wanted to buy 160 really bad. Short SpaceX. I think there's not much left to short, man. Short what? All right. Yeah, Saylor's not going away. You do have to just accept him. All right, we have a lot of topics to cover. This is what we're gonna do. Is I'm gonna not take that long on market close. Bring your wife into the deal, obviously. Yeah, ideally you bring your wife in. But all right, let's do this. Let's start with this. Let's actually cover Iran really quick. Which I have it labeled Iran LOL. This is so just unbelievable that we're still doing this. There were strike escalations over the weekend from both sides. Iran striking the US, US striking Iran. Oil can't get above $70. But the part is so comical. I almost couldn't even make it. I almost didn't want to make a joke about it because I'm like, it's gotten so bad. Where 1 hour before futures open, they announced no strikes for the next 10 days. It's like insane that this has happened, that we're still doing this. Here's a tweet from a couple days ago. Trump on the 27th. United States aircraft has struck Iranian missile and drone storage locations. Let me mute my computer. Sorry. A coastal radar sites for violating the ceasefire agreement. Again, it is very possible that they will never learn. There may come a point where we are no longer able to be reasonable and will be forced to militarily complete the job that we are very successfully started. If that happens, the Islamic Republic of Iran will no longer exist. And then, boom, 30 minutes before futures open, they announced strikes are paused. I thought the crazy tweet, though, about this is 60 Minutes is going so hard on calling out like Trump admin insider info. 60 Minutes is like devolved into like bubble maps. And I haven't watched this video, but I wanted to watch it. I thought it was relevant. Crazy. I mean, it is crazy. At the very least, we know what's happening though.
Insider trading. That's a natural conclusion to draw.
Yeah, you think it's a natural conclusion? What other conclusion would you draw? It's not super helpful. The only reason I play that clip is because it's 60 Minutes. And I saw this as well. The U.S. is preparing either the U.S. is preparing a major war against Iran, or we're giving all of our military equipment to Israel. Can't say I've ever seen so many Super Galaxy 4s active in my life. Trump has a 32% approval rating and 26% economic approval rating. Guessing he knows midterm elections are toast and preparing for full-scale war in November. Wait, is that true on midterms? I thought they're gaining on midterms. Let's see. Republican sweep is 18%. What I don't know is what a Super Galaxy 4 is. What is a Super Galaxy 4? Oh my god. It's a Lockheed Martin transport plane.
engines
Wait, what's AMC coded?
produce more than 51,000 pounds of thrust each. Those engines replaced the older TF-39 power plants during a major modernization program, improving thrust, shortening takeoff distance, accelerating climb, and making the aircraft
How many of these are moving? Oh, we don't even have that many of them, huh? What is the Super Galaxy? The largest military transport plane the U.S. has. Is Lockheed Martin up on the news? No, right? No. This chart's so bad. Look at this chart, dude. It's so disgusting. Also, as we're talking, they're ripping Hyperliquid. Looks good. IBM in a close is what? Ugh. Looked better before. All right. Here's what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get up real quick. We covered a lot of cultural stuff today. It's Monday. It's what we usually do. When I come back, 30 seconds. Actually, I'm gonna keep these on. I like to listen to music. I am going to go over market close with you, and wow, it's a fun one, ladies and gentlemen. So, also, you know what's crazy is fucking All In Podcast just did an episode with Nate Silver today, dude. Today, they did an episode with Nate Silver today. What the fuck is that? That's nuts. Did it today. All right. Anyways, all politics, no poker, really? All right, I'm back in 30 seconds, baby. You know, tell me out. I feel so you know, I have one more topic actually before we get to market close. I have one more topic real quick actually. I have a ton after, but I have What the fuck was this, dude? I mean, seriously, what the fuck was this? Arthur Hayes thing. It's the same day that I had a clip. I made all the clippers post it too. I made every clipper post it. Post me saying Arthur Hayes is good for crypto or whatever, and then he goes and posts this shit. Dude, first of all, Collector Crypt OTCing Arthur Hayes 1.5 million of cards is like so stupid. Seriously, like come on, dude. Just make him buy it. Actually make him buy it. You're at 60, 70 mil. You're the only coin on Solana that anybody cares about at the time. Pre-Ansem coin. There's two coins. It's cards and Ansem. Make him buy it. Make him fucking buy it. Make him buy it. Instead, they OTC him $1.5 million worth of cards. He goes on and shows it. Maelstrom writes an article. Hayes writes an article. And then he just stacks it. Like the next day, he stacks it. And I said this in the pit. Like, to be fair, if you're the CEO of Cards and you Google Arthur Hayes and you see like BitMax invented the perp, you see these P&Ls, saved Bitcoin in 2020, you're like, okay, this is a good, you're not expecting him to stack it and scream Yahtzee the next day. But I mean, respectfully, like, come on, guys. Nobody in the Cards thing was like, yeah, we should probably just make him buy it on the open market. Nobody at all. And so it's down from where he bought it. It was like such a waste of energy. And so they're shilling this new, like, I don't even know what this coin is. I'm going to be honest. Syn, S-Y-N. And I'm being DM'd. Everyone's DMing me, and they're like, let me come on the stream and shill S-Y-N. And I'm like, no, I don't really want to bring you on the stream. Like, I want to just talk about what I want to talk about. And I don't really want to talk about this. You know, I get all these DMs instantly. Let me come on stream. 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 And so everyone, this is what's being shilled right now. Let's see. Daily. How much is it up? Jeez. But it's like, he's just like shilling like 20 mil coins, bro. Like, I don't even do that. You know, I wouldn't even do that. Like, I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. Someone in YouTube chat said, Thread, why are you dressed like you're on NBC? Because this is the new CNBC, brother. This is the new CNBC. Also, if you're on YouTube or Twitter and you would like to chat, twitch.tv/threadguy. And on that note, Mark, get you already know what I want to know. What are you buying? What are you selling? What do you like? What do you hate? What did you make money on today or this weekend or Friday? What did you lose money on today or this weekend or Friday? What ticker do you just want me to read out loud because you like the way that it sounds? I want to know what you're in. I want to know what you're out of. I want to know what you like. It is important. It was important. It is important. What do you got? SpaceX 1, RoboStrategy 2. Eli Lilly is an interesting one. Holding IBB. Are you up on IBB? Long bot, long take two, long Genny, long QCOM. XYZ looks good here. That's a unique one. Running 100x on Joshua. CCXI, interesting. Long take two, but as it moves like a sloth. Frustrating. Rocket Lab long. Short SpaceX, long Micron. I like that. Black Bull. Round Hill Memory ETF. We'll get that one a look. J-Dogs, thank you for the gifted, brother. I appreciate you. World on Soul. I don't really know what that is, but I saw people trading it. SpaceX, Hype, Apple. ATH, IBB. Did you long it because of me or you just liked it? CCXI, this is important. I'll give it a look. Black Bull, Hype, Micron. That is a fun. ASTS, nice. Full port Bosnia at 10 cents to knock out USA of the World Cup. Long pump, God help me. Good luck. God cannot help you. Check XYZ chart and check its gross profits over the years. I like XYZ. They were the first one after Citrini article to do crazy layoffs. Did I miss roll call? What's up, brother? What else you like? What else you like? Breakout looks good on IBB. It looks insane. Serenity chart shilling robotics. Which ones? RoboStrategy added Prometheus, the Jeff Bezos new code to its port. Write that down and save that. I want to look that up when we get to it. All right, as I'm going through names, you know the drill. If you like anything, if you want me to read anything, feel free to shout it out. I'll give it a look. We will dive right into it. But on that note, let's start off with the SPX having a really strong day. It's $7,440.30, up 1.17% on the day. Babes, what is good? The NASDAQ, look at this day it had. It started red as fuck on open. Look at this. Open right here. Starts on open, the NASDAQ 100. Goes up a little bit. Dumps 1.8% down. And then immediately after, rips to close up 1.62% on the day. And man, if this thing can find a way to get back above like 30.7, wow, it looks insane. The Dow, highest close ever at 52,187 at 0.5 The Cosby is so electric, both directions. Had a fine day. It's basically flat. The Russell down 0.05. The Sox semi-index, that is up 4% today. Monster looks pretty strong. The IBB was one of the cleanest breakouts I think I've ever planned on the stream. Did anyone trade this? Somebody please tell me you traded this. Look at this thing. I mean, look. It's up like, I mean, what's it up from top tick here? What's up, Spoons? It's up like 7% in a straight line on a monster. Looks insane. The IGV, the worst coin of all time, that's up 2%. And the Qs are up 2.5% on the Qs. Really sick day on. Also, we should add memory for sure. We should add DRAM, which is down 1%. That's OKX. Why do I? No, I don't want that. I want not crypto. We should add DRAM, which is, it's already on here. No, here we go. Add DRAM, which is flat today, and then we should add mags as well. Hold on, sorry. Mags. Mag 7, which is up 3% today. Notable day. I mean, look, everything else was strong, but notable day on the mags. Back-to-back green days after a pretty nasty downturn. Hyperscalers been getting cooked. Good day. All right. Crypto. First and foremost, Bitcoin is $60,400. We've deemed the 60K level to be significant. Does anyone have a new position in Bitcoin that they want to share or that they like? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Is anyone in Bitcoin? Some sharps on my TL or in longs. I couldn't get myself to do it. I just couldn't. Yeah, you're in. I couldn't. I was down for hype, but I couldn't get myself to do it on Bitcoin. I just couldn't. Waiting for 40K. My God. 40? 40K is nasty. Ansem had a good, let's see. I mean, I like this take from 25th. Is Mando still shorting ETH? I believe so. These are on buying spot. Bitcoin is the same as it's always been. Hardest form of money. Digital gold took a hit in 24, 25 as gold outformed. Yeah, this is old. We read this on stream, I think, but tough spot for Bitcoin. Hyperliquid, I think it looks insane. I think hype looks really good right now. I'm long from like 65. I think I wanted some way to get exposure to crypto, little mini run if we have one. I'm kind of just tagging along on everybody else. Okay, I'm kind of just tagging along everybody else here. Like, I'm not much of a believer in the crypto pump right now of anything outside of hype. I think this looks the best. Kind of just cleared a key level here. 66 is a key level. 65 is a key level. And I'm down to be a believer in hype on right now. So hype, I think, looks the best. Maybe it's a board trade for me. I've been trying to avoid these. But the only other position I have on is IBM, which I like a lot right now. So hype up 9% of the day. Zcash, I'm uninterested in this chart. We're going to actually delete it from this list. And then Solana is the other one, which 4-hour looks... You know what? The 4-hour looks pretty damn good. I like this new indicator. Gave you like a big Z-score increase, I guess, on this candle that closed at like 71. The Sol 4-hour looks pretty damn good. The Sol daily also looks pretty damn good. The Sol weekly... I don't know about the Sol weekly. This is maybe like one of those Paul Tudor Jones, like, cotton trades. I've never really noticed this pattern, by the way. But so you have like this channel, and then you do this like, range, failed breakout range, and then you get back into it, and then you go. I never really knew about this pattern. Like, let's go like failed range breakdown pattern. No. Yeah, kind of like this. No, I can't find exactly what I like. Judas swing. No, it's not really an inverse head and shoulders. Yeah, okay. Judas swing. I've never heard someone say this before. It's kind of like this. It's a crazy name. It's like range, fake, and then it goes. All I know is that Paul Tudor Jones almost blew up his entire port on this exact trade. I could try to find the chart for you, but he was trying to short. Oh, new Leopold position. Really, is that public? That just came out. That just came out or no? Wow. Dude, this, we got to give 20% after hours. Holy fuck. It's just going right now. What's the market cap? 1.3 billion. And they own how much? Holy fuck. They own 20%. Dude. That degenerate degen LSD or whatever. Fucking, can you trade this shit after hours? Can you buy it right now? I mean, what am I supposed to do? Not. I gotta sell some fucking AMC or something, bro. Bro, he owns 20% of this. Are you fucking kidding me? How are they dumb? He owns 20. It's a shitter, bro. God, Robinhood's so dog shit. Oh my God. Come on, bro. Why can't I just market slams? There's no liquidity. Market just closed. Oh my God. Ah! Ah! I have no money. It's all on fucking AMC, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Come on. I feel like I feel like you have to bid this at least at some level. Dude, this is gonna drive me fucking crazy. Wait. Chat, I gotta focus. Everyone everyone stop. Hold on. Let me think about this really quick. I need to have money in the hood, and then I can figure out what I want to do. AMC only trades in fractional shifting market hours. It would be queued to convert to market order and queued for market open. It would be processed for the best available price. To trade now, change the whole number of shares. Let me see. Huh. No. It's not gonna let me sell it. Let me sell one of it though. Huh, I think I got a terrible fill on buying on selling StubHub. I just got like the worst, or selling some AMC. I got the worst fill of all time. I'm not trying to FOMO you, but like I obviously have to trade a little bit of this. But we gotta look. Hold on, we gotta look at it. But let me just finish what I'm doing real quick. Hold on. I just want to get like a little bit of exposure just to see what happens. Because if I'm gonna talk about it, it's gonna drive me crazy. Hold on. Dude, they filled me at how did I get filled at $90? How did they get $90, bro? By the way, all right, look, NFA. I'm just I had to click it a little bit because it's a tiny micro cap. This thing's at 1.3 bill. Be careful with this. It's at 1.3 bill. It's tiny. And he owns 20% of it, which is nuts. After hour spreads are so bad. And I just learned like a tough lesson on selling some that's so ridiculous, dude. You gotta use a limit. There we go. This is why I trade perps, brother. I did market order though. Give me a terrible fill. All right, well, let's look at this. Dude, this person. By the way, one more thing real quick. Let me just say. I know nothing. I just see a spot and I'm like, I'm ready to fucking trade a little bit. So whatever. Don't tail me. This account. Look at this. This fucking guy. How did he know? June 22nd. Nah. Jobin, thanks for the gifted. June 22nd. Wait. How? June 22nd on the daily. What? How is it hot? Wait, what? Yo! How is that higher? Okay, watch. Let's look at some shit though. Hold on. Let's look at watch this. Let's see if it works. My new indicator. Okay, wait. I wonder where Leopold fucking bought. Look at this. Tulip King, look at this. Z-score of 12. Look at this candle. I wonder where he bought. Insane. I wonder where Leopold fucking bought. Insane. Bro, he bought 20%. You bought when you saw the speculation and it ripped down, so you sold. So even if he was top tick. Okay, wait. Situation runners would likely follow 13G. Is 13G the one that no, what did I actually get filled at? I'll tell you. This is I learned a lesson on this, to be honest. I got filled at 89.40. 13G is passive. Which one's active? 13G, 13D. No intent, and 13D is active. What did Cohen do? No, 13F is not active, is it? Yeah, 13D is active. So Ryan Cohen did this with wow, did I just like get the worst fill ever? How would you even do? I don't even know how limits work on Robinhood. Let me see. Buy. Huh. Yeah. GG. Scully was funny on his stream, by the way. Sharon AI told investors Nvidia was a strategic shareholder and then withdrew the statement. That's the type of shit that they put me in jail for. Frank, do you have the clip for this? Let's see. Sorry to derail, but I mean, what do you fucking want me to do? Martin Shkreli, Pace Trade, Sharon. Click timestamp. Need the beer back. Oh, it doesn't show the I work with Twitter video. Do you know what video it is? 3831. How old is this? Does this have a date on it or no? June 25th. Okay, wait. Thank you. 38.
Ah, here it is. Okay. You have to agree to the terms and conditions before you can use the site. It's really funny. All right. So this is a company that I actually want to short this. It's called Sharon AI. No joke. This is one of the craziest stories I've ever seen. Okay, you guys ready for story time? Who's spamming my chat? Don't spam my chat ever again. I'm long SpaceX. It's really just to test my trading tool. I'm not like that bullish or anything. What's up, Dusty? What's good? Wrote dude in capital letters. I'm stopping the stream for you. All right. Back to story time. Sharon AI is one of Leopold's holdings. I refuse to believe this. Karen AI, exactly.
Is he gonna talk about?
No, I'm gonna do a big account challenge. Sorry, I just can't. I don't want to do the biker challenge, but I guess I could try to do both. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so Sharon AI, is some weird. I don't even know what it is, to be honest. But does it have a business at all? This guy James Manning is apparently. So this guy is apparently an Australian mobster. This is the way it was described to me. You know, I don't know him, so well, you know, but it's something kind of crazy. Okay, so Sharon AI told investors Nvidia was a strategic shareholder, and then withdrew the statement. The 10K signed by the CEO Manning, this Australian dude, told investors Nvidia is a strategic shareholder in Sharon AI. No fucking way. That's the type of shit that they put me in jail. The fuck? Rah. Let me see. Nvidia. We're substantially dependent on Nvidia. Okay, sure. I want to see this for myself, you know.
Anyways, explain this to me. If you were to sell a stock on Robinhood, it has 24% estimated backup withholding. Because you haven't certified your tax status yet, the IRS requires us to withhold at least 24% for taxes from certain transactions. Please update your tax status if you're not subject to backup withholding tax. I don't understand. They just keep that. It's not profit. It's not P&L. I don't get it. It's like prepaying taxes, but will they give it back to you if you're not due? You get refunded after filing, but not before. I don't want to give them. Brother, what are you talking about? What is Robinhood estimated? It's not profit though. of a sale for taxes, but it's not profit. The fuck is that? That guy's been live for nearly 2 hours, still haven't heard original take. Ugh. I have no energy to respond to you, actually. This gets a lot of people off guard. Back withholding is not a capital gains tax. It's withholding mechanism required by the IRS in certain situations. Thank you. Send that brother to the fucking gulag. Here's what's probably happening. You sell 100% of the stock of crypto. Robinhood holds 24%. The IRS holds that money as a prepayment towards your eventual tax bill. Do you lose the money? Usually no. Huh? That is fucking absurd. Anyways, really good point made by Frank. That's why I'm trying to say, like, don't FOMO into this. I just clicked a little for fun. Is what we were doing before Martin Shkreli distract is like, yeah, people have known this. Situation owners will likely file 13G for Shaw's by 29 June. Analysis below. It's for the 13F. They hold 796,000 shares. On June 17th, they announced a deal for about 13 million shares. Situation Awares was the lead in this deal, assuming they took 10% of the deal's economic interest. Easy, thanks for the gifted. That would put them at 7% ownership, which means they need to file 13G. For those wondering about why the call pricing for Shaw seems so weird, likely people are bidding in. Here you go. Likely people are bidding in anticipation of the announcement. So here's how we're at with Shaw's. How much is it up? I mean, it basically pumped on clear gap up anticipation of what looks to be this announcement. I would say like this candle is fair. It pumped like 40%. It's down a little bit from that, but dude, that Robinhood thing is so nuts. I can't believe it. I actually cannot believe. Can you look at what it does? Yeah. What is Shaw's TLDR? Why is it going up? Can you look at why it's going up? I'm like, fuck, I guess I probably should do that after I slam it. Come on. It's an Australian AI neocloud. No. Australian AI neocloud. Think a tiny, much riskier version of CoreWeave. Leopold, new neocloud pick. It's rallying to the investors believe it's gone from speculative startup to become the massive contracted AI infrastructure demand. Huge NVIDIA partnership, which is maybe fake. 6-year agreement worth $4.88 billion, but it's only a $1.3 billion stock. Massive financing. They also oversubscribed $1.6 billion financing. Gives investors confidence it can actually fund those GPU purchases in data centers. Where does it say 1.3B? Well, here it does. Market cap 1.36. But it's up 7%, so I guess a little bit higher. The catch. Also, if you're on YouTube and Twitter and you want to chat to me, Twitch.tv/threadguy. YouTube's popping, but I can't like read your messages. Why would you market Phil? Because I don't use Robinhood, bro. That's why. Very little current revenue relative to speculation. Enormous capital requirements. I mean, this is like the most speculative Leopold thing you could possibly do. Let's see. Wow, it's just a start. The situation is becoming 20% stakeholder means that they will likely backstop the riskiest part of the financing for Shaw's transformation into a full-fledged neocloud. I'll do a more detailed analysis tomorrow. Yeah, everyone's saying it was known, you know. It was known. It was known. It was known. Imagine he does a haze and stacks tomorrow. Yeah. Or anything else. All right. Well, I guess we'll see what happens. I've never really entered on something like that before. Purely on a Leopold thing, but I didn't enter with very much, but it seems interesting. So it seems like it was known though. This is the thing that's weird. It seems like people have known about this. But we'll see what happens. All right, back to what we were doing. Fuck, we have a lot to cover too. Are you bullish on cards? No. I'm not at all bullish on cards. The haze thing was really weird. All right, back to the stretch. We covered this already. And then metals chads are just stuck in hell forever. I suppose. Copper, nothing. Silver, nothing. All right, big AI. Semi-space. A little bit of everything in between. First and foremost, ASTS biggest gain up 20%. Second is Cerebrus up 19%. And I saw this really interesting take on Cerebrus from Gavin Baker. I've never heard articulated. It's a little bit long, but I want to watch it because I think it's relevant for future IPOs. Maybe relevant for SpaceX as well if we were to get there. I think you have to listen to anyone at all other than Gavin Baker, Semi-Analysis, and All In Podcast.
A tough 2 days since they reported their first quarter as a public
Listen
company.
to this though.
And I think there are two things that are worth discussing here. One is there is a whole generation of portfolio managers. There's a lot of people who are advocating for kind of squeezing the blood out of the stone on IPO prices. And the flip side of that is that there are a lot of portfolio managers who, if a stock breaks deal price, they sell it no matter what. They consider it a promise.
So like if they break, if it goes lower than the price at which the deal was struck, then they sell, like rage sell. I've never heard this.
That was broken. And so this is what has happened with Cerebrus to some degree over the last 2 days. And, you know, this may seem irrational, but there are people who run giant funds who I know personally, where if a stock breaks deal price, they sell no matter what. And so if stock breaks deal price, it can sometimes, you know, go to places you wouldn't think it would go. And this means that shorts, if a stock gets close to deal price, they short it because they want to break deal price. And then, you know, they make a quick 10 or 20%.
So it becomes a pylon.
Because you have this price insensitive selling that can be triggered. And this is what has happened to Cerebrus. You know, people talk about hate selling, but they broke deal price. And so just if you're going public and you're listening to this, tell your bankers, price this in such a way that we're not going to break deal price in our first 9 months as a public company. And that's what I always advise everyone to do. And I think it's important. But I also think, you know, it takes companies a while to learn how to tell their story and communicate to public markets. It's a very different audience than VCs. And the way I would have respectfully told the Cerebrus story, because what happened to Cerebrus is they reported a quarter and they're growing fast, but relative to the rest of AI, they're not growing that fast in the March quarter. So what I would have said is we signed this transformational, you know, $25 billion, I don't know the exact number, contract with OpenAI in December of 2025. We immediately ordered more wafers from Taiwan Semi. It takes 4 months from when we make that order. Taiwan Semi, you know, says yes, they start producing. It takes 4 months to make the chip. Then it takes us 2 months, plus or minus, to turn that chip into a server. And then if we're lucky and we can find the power, it takes us a month to energize that.
The Walter course, he said he's like in an Airbnb or something.
That chip and start making tokens with it. So the first time you're going to see the impact of this OpenAI deal at the earliest is probably around Labor Day. So you'll see a little bit of it in the third quarter. But then it starts to build. And just like really simple math. So like, let's just use some rough numbers. Let's take some NVIDIA numbers.
All right, rest of it's just posting through this. But the thing that I was the most confused or like intrigued by is this idea that if price goes below a certain level, like below the deal price, they're forced to like rage sell. I've never heard that before. And so it relates to like SpaceX on damn, nice close. I mean, SpaceX technically, I guess deal is 135. What was SpaceX was 135? Got it. So it had a little bit of ways to go. From here, it would be 17% down. At the bottom, it was an additional like Fuck. 8%. It was kind of close. I thought it was 135, but first tick, it opened at 150. But I think the deal, as he's referring to it, was 135, like what it was sold at. So, anyways, that's Cerebras. Moving on, Rocket Lab was up 15% on news of an acquisition today. Space Stocks did great today. Firefly up 13. BlackBerry just monster, up 10%. Bloom Energy as well, up 10%. I think Frank hit that. It was a nice one. Tesla up 9, which is crazy. SpaceX pumped 7% today, and I actually wanted to buy SpaceX above 160, but any real move hasn't been done. But it's kind of a board trade, I suppose, and so I might stay away from it. But SpaceX looks, I mean, it looks strong. It fucking looks strong. It looks strong. Redwire's up 7. RoboStrategy's up 6. Kind of a wild chart. I'm seeing a lot of people flip bullish on robots. Like a lot of people are just talking about robots. Had a crazy green can. Let's see if it could pick up here. Look at this. Maybe they're gonna announce some news soon. I wonder if this is how this is gonna work. John Morant to the Blazers. Stop. Trolling. Oh my god, for nothing. Who's even on Portland? Demi. Oh my god, that's such a weird. The Suns should have gotten him. Like I wonder if this is gonna work like this. Like, okay, is RoboStrategy gonna make this crazy green candle and then no follow through, but like a huge 5 on the Z score, like a huge volume spike? Are they gonna get some announcement from this? I don't know. Google up 5, which is also great to see. You want to see the hyperscalers get some fucking motion. ASML's up 5, Marvell's up 4, AMD up 3, IBM, which I really like. I'm still long. I longed. I mean, man, I longed right here on that Trump news. This was on Monday, last Monday. And I've just held it. Like I did nothing. They've never really tested it. It bounced my entry a few times, went below it for a second. I've never really tested my entry. And so it's turned into a sick little trade, up like 9%, but I'm on 4x. So it's turned into a nice trade. Meta up 2. Good to see. Nvidia up 1.5. Micron had a crazy day that it went from down a lot, basically bounced 1,000 to back up 1.12. And then I think it was on 7 at one point. Biggest losers: SanDisk down 2, Microsoft down 1.3, Apple down 1, Oracle down half, QCon down half, SPCE shitcoin down 0.3, and Netflix down 0.04. Some of our consumer-ish names: Roblox had plus 15% day. Looks interesting. Strategy we know. Nebius, Leopold stock, that is up 9% on the day. Wendy's, funny enough, is still green, plus 5. Reddit plus 5. StubHub, which I just fucking sold some to buy this stupid Leopold thing, is up 22% for my entry. But I got robbed. I got fucking robbed. They like tax withheld. I'm gonna figure this out. StubHub's a monster right now. Up 22%. Take-Two up 3 on GTA news. This looks pretty good, Wavy. This looks pretty good, dude. This looks pretty good. Eli Lilly up 2 into a new crushing new all-time high. Beautiful. Nike up 2, first green day in like a year. Biggest losers: AMC. This fucking thing, man. It hates this fucking stock. It's so cursed. I can't believe they did what they did to it. I just cannot believe they did what they did to it, but they did. Sweet Green down 7 as well. I read down 3. Shopify down 3. Hims down 1.3. Really quick. Alts. XPL up 10. Zcash up 8. Lighter up 5. And Lighter actually looks probably the best out of all of them. I would say Lighter looks the best. And then nothing else really worth running home. Okay, a couple of our traders real quick. Hyperdash. Loracle is long. Wow. Long a lot of Zeke. And then a bunch of, it's long Solana on 17x leverage. My God. God. So a lot of hype from 70. What's that right now? 66.5 on hype. Looks pretty good. He's long, short Tesla still. This is like the 6-day. He's looking Ave. Probably from the Kraken announcement. John Moran getting traded to Portland. You're late. Garrett Bullish is long, down 20 million is Bitcoin long, and he's short Zcash up 130K as it relates right now. I don't think I'm really tracking anyone that interesting at the moment. Let me see who I have. I had this IBM wallet I really liked. No, I'm not logged in. Should I log in? Let me see. I actually will log in. There was like 1 or 2 wallets I was a huge fan of. Here we go. There's the Air Mass $1, which is a goddamn. It's up 2.3 on Micron, 1.5 on Intel. I don't think it's Air Mass, but it's fun to track. There is this IBM wallet I really like. Who's long IBM again? He sold. Crushing S&P longs. Look at this. Look at this P&L curve. It's just like, it's so pretty. It's just like, whole way up. And then I like, this guy slammed Micron earnings. This is a good wallet. Wow. Bitcoin short from 63. And that is mostly what I'm interested for market close. Let's look real quick at Shaw's, which I think has been added to this list. You might as well add it. Dude, I'm like so upset about this Robinhood thing, by the way. Are they gonna let me get my money back? They like robbed me. I've never heard of that. If I update my tax documents right now, will they release cash? I've never heard of that. They like blatantly robbed me. Wow, they're not gonna give me the money back. Insane that just happened to me. It was like it was a lot of bread. Wow. I mean, I can never use it again. They just like stole a lot of money from me. I can never use the platform again. That's just like nuts, what just happened for selling. 24% of the sale. It was a big sale. Dog shit, man. What was I gonna say? Oh wait, let me check. Bro, it's 24% of the sale. I've never heard of that. Why you choose over Hyperliquid? Because Hyperliquid doesn't have enough stuff. This is the Shaw's. $87 post market. I guess we'll see what happens with it tomorrow. I mean, I think this is a tough spot because it was most definitely priced in. To what extent? Unclear. Yeah. To what extent is unclear, but people have known about this, and also it seems kind of hated. These guys quite literally had to issue an 8K just a few months ago to admit NVIDIA is not a strategic shareholder in share in AI, which they had falsely stated as such in their 10K. Read that again. They straight up lied about NVIDIA being an investor of theirs. They had the audacity to include this lie in their 10K. Truly diabolical stuff. That's crazy. What the fuck is going on here? Ah, okay. Here we are. No, not this. Hold on. Copy paste this. Control C. Is it me or is it the... It's not working. No, why isn't it working? Shaw's. Huh? Well, let me copy paste it. From April 30th, 2026 is like. Oh god, they're short from right here. That's brutal. We're short Sharon AI. The CEO allegedly siphoned millions, threatened to burn down his last public company. The $1.25 billion anchor contract is with a small Indian data center operator whose newest major customer is sanctioned. The CEO previously ran a Bitcoin miner. In 2022-2023, Manning made a series of mining capability promises that never materialized. Meanwhile, he apparently hid related party transactions amounting to over 11.5 million from the board. According to allegations, he resigned rather than explain under oath, said he'd burned Moss into the ground and filed a bad faith bankruptcy petition. We think Shaw's is Mawson with a new code of pain. Executives, related parties, and questionable promises all carry over. They positioned themselves as the core reef of Australia. On April 1st, they signed a $1.25 billion 5-year deal with the ESDS software solution. Indian data center operator with $6 million and $425 net income on $38 million of revenue. ESDS had $69 million total assets, which calls into question the $140 million letter of credit it's supposed to owe Shaw's. ESDS also disclosed a new foreign customer, 25, at 20% of sales, offset anemic domestic returns. Gazprom Bank, which is sanctioned by virtually every Western nation. We believe Shaw's is a U.S. listed company, cannot furnish compute to a sanctioned entity. ESDS appears unable to provide Shaw's anything approaching 250 million annual sales. The CEO is also prone to exaggerations and broken promises of his own, claiming a presence in 19 countries and promising at least 4 new data centers over the years that never happened. Ugh. What? Huh? Am I reading this correctly? $500 million of Shaw's funding comes from USDAI. Whose founders ran a failed NFT lending platform. USDAI. Yeah, it appears this is a scam, ladies and gentlemen. Is a 1-year-old. It's at 8730, so. DeFi protocol with $284 million in total lending capacity and 1.2 in approved facilities across 3 counterparties. What? What? On April 17th, Lucid Capital Markets wrote a bullish initiation piece on Shaw's. The same day, Shaw's filed a POS AM allowing insiders, including SPAC principals, to sell once SEC approved. Lucid's and its head of capital markets are in that filing with 18 million of Shaw's stock to sell. This came amid a retraction by the company about statements it made about NVIDIA and its 10K. On March 31st, 2026, Shaw's filed a 10K signed by Manning telling investors NVIDIA was a strategic shareholder. 13 days later, Shaw's filed an 8K saying NVIDIA was never a shareholder. The 10K was not amended. The correction was filed under item 8.01, not item 4.02. Bleecker Street is short Sharon AI. Okay. Jesus, that was like that was a crazy can of worms that we just dived into. USDAI, what the fuck? Dude, this is fucking. He was on the stream. What's his fuck, what's his name? David. Oh god. Should we look at the chip chart? He's the founder of this. God. What the fuck did I just buy? Yeah. Well, you got a free exit if I mean, this is weird because why would Leopold buy 20% of this? Is so insane to me, actually. Why would he buy 20%? Huh. Well, no, he did. They filed. No, he did. There's no rumor. He filed. It was a rumor before. He filed. He filed for it. Like, it's real. All right. Well, here's what we're gonna do. That's the Shaw's thing. I didn't mean to get. I'm not here to get bad comms. I'm here to get the only comms I have. So do what you want with that information. It's not great information. I'm here to give comms. That's all I'm here to give. That's my job. I am going to get up really quick. When I come back, we have a lot of topics, not a lot of time to cover them, and a lot of all-in podcasts to watch. So comms are good, not gonna lie. They were good. I mean, we just did a whole deep dive. I wonder who else that bid that shit did a fucking deep dive. Oh, that was nuts. I was like, what? It was like a can. That was a crazy can of worms. Do you think markets like to react? I don't know. Loot and rob, brother, is loot and rob is where we are. Can't believe we talked about AV earnings today. Well, there we are. I don't even know what the fuck this is. I have no idea what this is. It's 20% after hours. Never heard of this. Beatable last market. It's drones. I can't believe I got robbed. I'm so Hyperliquid should be $1 million, dude. It should be like 5. There's no price too high for this. Oh my god. There's no price. All right. Let's go. First and foremost, the biggest news is Apple is trying to get the US government to approve their purchase of memory from the CXMT Chinese company that's going to IPO very soon. That everyone is extremely excited about, even though Chinese stocks are not necessarily the best. Apple came out Yes.
All right, so
Yesterday, and 2 or 3 days ago, and said that, and said, God, dude. Apple came out like 3 days ago and said that they are raising prices on everything across the board. And it seems as if I like this take. What they're trying to do is get the setting the stage for memory being the ultimate bottleneck, blaming China for why they are kind of forced into raising profits here, and maybe setting the stage for some future back and forth. The CXMT excitement is insane. Seriously, it's crazy. I've seen like, oh, I should read this. I've seen so many posts about CXMT, Kyle Samani being one of them, and so we're going to follow the IPO very closely. USDI is not a funder in a practical sense. It was announced, never drawn, never appeared in the filings. The company funded itself with convertibles, then Oaktree, then $1.6 billion raised. It belongs in the same bucket as the retracted NVIDIA's a shareholder claim. A splashy announcement that never materialized is stated. That pattern is not the most qualitative finding. It tells you how to read this company's press releases. So they're just like lying about everything, huh? I don't know. But on this memory take, I want to watch a couple all-in clips because I think it's the most on top of the market of any podcast that exists right now. And Gavin Baker is so good. I'm like obsessed. I want to start with this clip because I think it's important.
Sees it as the most important bottleneck. Not laser, every AI model. So this is the most important bottleneck. Elon is focusing the tariff on, find some esoteric Japanese company. The bottom of them is the most important.
Temporary bottleneck or desktop? Your thoughts, Gavin, on Micron and the impact on the industry? And is this a temporary bottleneck, or does this mean everybody has to get into this business?
Micron HBM memory.
No, well, one, DRAM is the most important bottleneck. There's a whole segment of people on X who are very focused on bottlenecks. I call them the bottleneck bros. They'll do some work with Claude, find some esoteric Japanese company. The bottleneck that matters is DRAM. And DRAM and HBM DRAM, this is the most important bottleneck simply because memory capacity and bandwidth are foundational to the performance of every AI model. So this is the most important bottleneck. Elon is focusing the terafab on memory because he sees it as the most important bottleneck. Not lasers, not capacitors, not power supply semiconductors, not NAND flash, not HDDs, DRAM. And I think this bottleneck is going to be with us for a while. And it is kind of astonishing. So a few thoughts. Like, what was important?
I mean, he's saying to slam fucking Micron is basically what he's saying.
About the quarter, they announced that they have these SCAs, these supply chain agreements, that have a floor and a ceiling for prices with increasingly large group of large customers. And this covers essentially 50% of their revenue, I think, with just 4 customers. And the floor pricing in these new contracts is ahead of prior cycle peaks from a gross margin perspective. And so this is really, I think, maybe end up being very transformational for the industry. Most other parts of the semiconductor supply chain have re-rated. Lam Research, the wafer fab equipment suppliers, they all trade at huge premiums to DRAM relative to prior cycles, and their business models have improved. But so has the industry structure and business models of DRAM, because HBM DRAM is increasingly a customized chip. But as far as other people being able to do this, look, CXMT is going public in China. They are going to. They may be the cure for Apple's ills. They will flood the market with, to some degree, cheap consumer-grade DRAM. But for the DRAM you need in these AI servers, there are 3 companies that can make it. It's really hard to do. This is as close to magic as science can get. And, I think
calls it the intersection of science and magic.
Terafab, is going to be an important part of this solution. But, these stocks still trade are cross-sectionally cheap relative to the rest of AI. Something I've been thinking about, DRAM is probably going to be 30 to 40% of all hyperscaler CapEx.
We're saying it's like 15% right now. He's saying it's going to be 30 to 40%.
Next year. Every hundreds of billions of dollars that are spent, it's going straight to DRAM. It's wild. But this may actually be very valuable for society because it is probably, going to, inflate the costs of building a gigawatt data center to the point where, even for the hyperscalers, economics matter. We're caught in this prisoner's dilemma. And this may give us as a society time to adapt, what our friend Brad Gershner calls the social contract. So the high iPhone prices, one, CXMT is coming for consumer grade DRAM. But 2, this may be good for AI. It may be good for us as a society.
And making it is just really pure silicon, right? Like making memory is just.
So that's clip number 1 on memory men, and I mean we know that this. We haven't really been tracking DRAM chart specifically, but it's nuts. I mean, I think we should just watch a bunch of these clips. It's been a nuts chart. We should watch a bunch of these clips. That's Gavin Baker number 1. Number 2 is as it relates to IPOs. He thinks Anthropic will be worth $3 trillion if it IPO today.
Anthropic is worth $3 trillion today. And it's very important.
I'm sorry, did you say Anthropic is worth
$3 trillion fucking dollars, brother? We're not stopping.
$3 trillion?
Yeah, I think that is roughly where it would probably trade as a public company. And
wow.
Yeah.
What? Oh.
I mean, look, they're going to end this year.
Oh, man.
They're going to end this year well over 100 billion. So
holy shit.
What's the 28 number?
$3
What's
trillion
the 28 number? Is it 200? Is it 300 billion? It's probably not going to trade it 10 times that number.
The All In Bros do really hate Anthropic. David Sachs really hates Anthropic. The White House, Trump admin really hates Anthropic.
And it will be very profitable at that scale because it'll be inference dominated, and people are reporting they have 85% gross margins on inference. But in terms of the market absorbing this, like the market's already absorbed it. You know, this
is my favorite take. How's the market going to absorb all these IPOs? What happens when all these IPOs hit the market?
In terms of the market absorbing this, like the market's already absorbed it. You know, it's just shifting from private to public. And so in the scale of global capital markets, these seem like really big numbers. You're just moving from the private markets to the public markets, which are even bigger. I think Anthropic is
not a bad take. I like that. It's like, bro, they've already absorbed it. What more? Like, it's been absorbed. And so here's a clip as well. I'm sorry we're just watching all in, but we have to. It's just too good. Where they talk about David Sachs on the China exports, kind of like in response to what Apple's trying to do, and then general AI race, AI China.
They're 6 months behind on the model, and they're 24 months behind on the silicon, yet they're only a few months behind in total.
And it feels like they're not even a few months behind.
So what game are we playing? This is insane. We are going to lose if we keep doing this stuff to ourselves.
So let me make a point about that. So on the silicon, there's been a huge push in China by the government to push their AI labs to develop and train on Huawei chips. And look, you can take these claims with a grain of salt. Maybe they're not true, but it was claimed that DeepSeek V4 was trained on Huawei chips. And now Z.AI, they are saying that the GLM5 family was trained entirely on clusters of Huawei Ascend 910.
They're not supposed to, they don't have access to these NVIDIA chips. And so they're not supposed to be able to run GPUs as powerful as America. Therefore, this is a little bit of a fucking narrative violation. This is true.
Be chips. So now look, maybe they're lying. Maybe they smuggled in some NVIDIA chips, but
this is a big time narrative violation.
The claim is that this was all done on indigenous chips. And what I believe is that China is engaged in a strong indigenization push right now. They want to prop up Huawei as the national champion. They want all their companies using Huawei chips. They still need to scale some of the manufacturing, but they're going to do that pretty quickly. And then what they're going to do is they're going to take these Huawei chips, they're going to take these Huawei optimized models. Remember that GLM 5.2, the inference is optimized for the Huawei chips. Okay, we know that. And they are basically going to package these things up. They call it AI in a box. They're going to sell it at a fraction of the cost globally.
Which is what they do with every technology, right? Better, cheaper, faster, or almost as good. Yeah.
And that's another thing, is I've been saying since the beginning of this administration, we have to be pro-export because China is going to be there within 1 or 2 years. I said, we're going to be kicking ourselves because we could have had the whole global market to ourselves. We invented reasons not to sell abroad to our friends and partners. And now China is going to be there imminently.
Yeah, they're fucking here, man. They are here. The one other clip I want to watch is this is Shamat talking about Tao. This is emphasizing how fucking intense the race is. Here.
3 months, depending on one. They'll have Fable level. The founder of Z.ai, he said that
This is why you got to think CapEx spend is up only forever and it just doesn't stop.
that before Q1, they'll have Fable level capability. I believe them because look, the Chinese have been, I'd say 9 months behind our models, plus or minus 3 months, depending on capability. But it's when they know there's been a breakthrough around something like cyber, they can deploy more resources against that particular problem and catch up faster.
Yeah,
so like I said, we're on a shot clock here. I've been saying for months that we're on a
shot clock, brother, on a shot clock.
Shot clock. We have to do smart things. We can't just slow everything down because that will not slow down the Chinese. They're not under our jurisdiction. We have to basically get these tools in the hands of our cybersecurity industry. They're the force multiplier. They're the enabler. We have to basically go out and do this big upgrade cycle quickly because we only have a few months left.
They're 6 months behind on the model, and they're 24 months.
It's hard to think to yourself that we could have some sustained, you know, like if you just forget market cycles for a while and you just think like logically, it's hard to think that you could have this sustained bear market when there is so much panic and fear and like desperation over the China situation. Like that, bro, shot David Sachs, AI czar, former AI czar, I guess. Is he still the AI czar? Or no? Is David Sachs still AI? No. He stepped down. It's just Howard Lutnick now. It's so stupid. Why is it Howard Lutnick? Well, I don't know. When you hear him come on there talking about shot clock, it's obvious how desperate and focused and motivated that they are to make it happen. I don't know. Get AI spend done. Also, it's happening everywhere. South Korea just announced that their reported $650 billion of spending for SK and Samsung on memory has now increased to $1.3 trillion. $1.3 trillion over the next decade for SK and Samsung. It's insane. It's like such a massive number. Everywhere is feeling the exact same implications here. So, okay, quick stock news. Even though we covered most of these names, number one is everywhere I go, I feel like I'm being convinced to buy Meta. All of the stock bros, everywhere I go, it's Meta, 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 buy Meta, buy Meta, buy Meta. So they're spending hundreds of billions in AI compute. Critics say this is wasteful as they do not have a leading frontier LLM right now. In my view, this CapEx spending gives Meta massive leverage. Compute is as good as cash in this market as there is virtually infinite demand for any compute right now. Meta could tomorrow decide to rent all of its compute to Anthropic or OpenAI. Now they have a leading AI cloud and are printing money. We just saw XAI do this with Colossus 1, I guess. 2, they could lower their own AI costs by hosting free open source models, GLM 5.2, on their compute instead of paying for Claude and Codex. Just feel like they had this done and they fucked it with Llama. 3, they could also continue to train LLMs on their compute and obtain a frontier model. Compute gives you optionality, and optionality is underpriced when nobody knows who wins. At the very least, they had a nice day today. But this is an ugly chart, man. It's an ugly, ugly, ugly chart for Meta. So that's Meta. Also, this is interesting. Guess we finally found why Meta signed massive agreements with the neoclouds like Nebius back in March. Imagine they signed a deal with Shaw's. And why Gemini got super nerfed. Google reportedly restricted Meta's capacity in March 2026 because of compute restraints. Google CEO said last earnings computing power and restrictions prevented Google Cloud from taking on more customer needs and made the department's backlog nearly double previous quarter. This is positive for the AIDC CapEx build-out since hyperscalers' capacity is way below what is needed, and eventually so if they can't rely on one another. Everybody needs more and more and more. We saw this Rocket Lab acquisition. Rocket Lab was up like 20% today. Iridium. I don't even really know what this is. What do they do? What is Iridium? Stock. Represents Iridium Commodities, a premier global satellite communications company that owns and operates a constellation of low Earth orbit LEO satellites, providing a mobile voice data and Internet of Things, IoT services. 2.5 million subscribers worldwide. I've never heard of it, but they pumped 20% on this news today. I guess all of space was up, but notable. We saw this, which is discussed at the beginning, so I won't spend much time on it. But Josh Kushner and Bob Iger are just in discussions, and it seems like it's going to happen to bring an NBA team to Vegas. I don't get the Vegas slot push. I hate it. I'm so anti-Las Vegas. I think it's the worst place on earth. The Vegas slop is like too much. I might never go back if it was up to me. Maybe for some poker tournaments in the future, but up only on Vegas stuff. It was obviously going to be the next city. I just hate, what is this Sphere doing? I just hate Vegas, dude. Look at it. Oh my God. Look at this stock. This is basically the stock. This is basically Vegas, I suppose. $6 billion. Unbelievable. It's like up. I mean, it's where's January 1st? It's insane what this looks like. Year to date, it's up 93% year to date. I mean, that's fucking disgusting. I have a couple more on stocks. Comcast made this announcement that they're going to separate into two public companies today, and it fucking ripped. I don't even know if Comcast is on our list, but we shall start following it now. Ugh, holy fuck. Maybe for good reason. Oh, God. What did they do? They ripped it. It was up 29%. It closed the day up 4%. What did they do? That is horrifying. And then last but not least on our list, no, it's not. That's skippable. All right. There's a lot on this AI section. I feel like the biggest discussion in AI right now, other than the memory bottleneck, is what do we do with these Chinese models that are so good and so much cheaper? Like, what happens? And I feel like no one's really addressing this, nor is there like a real solution to, I don't know, what you do when this inevitably plays out more. Where my other one neck? But all right, couple things. First, Howard Lutnick's official letter to Anthropic CEO Tom Brown was released. No, I actually have never used GLM 5.2, not gonna lie. Mythos, what is this from exactly? Mythos 5 ban lifted only for Anthropic's own non-US citizen researchers, US trusted partners, and US government. Everyone else still requires export license. Fable 5 still banned. And so here's the letter that they wrote to Anthropic, Howard Lutnick, who I guess is like the AIs are now for no particular reason. I'm ready to inform you of a revision to the license requirements imposed in my letter dated June 12, 2026 regarding Mythos. Has anyone here used GLM 5.2? It's a good question. Since the issuance of my June 12th letter, Anthropic has worked with the U.S. government to address risks associated with the covered models. These efforts have yielded significant progress. In addition, Anthropic has committed to work with the U.S. government on protocols and standards and releases for the covered models. In light of this progression, as well as the Department of Commerce's evaluation of the diversion risks currently presented by covered models, I've determined that appropriate safeguards are in place to permit certain trusted partners to access Claude Mythos 5 model. Accordingly, a license will no longer be required to export, re-export, or in-country transfer the Claude Mythos 5 model to entities identified in Annex A to this letter and their foreign national employees, or to Anthropic's foreign national employees. Commerce may amend the list of entities in Annex A at any time. All other requirements of the June 12th letter remain in effect until further notice. DNAP uses it, and he says it's the best. I trust DNAP. Polymarket. Let's check this. Fable. What did that do to... Let's see, like July. Did that make it go up or down? Flat, basically. It's actually down a little bit. Surprisingly. We're still like June 29th. At one point, this was 66%. Now it's going to 0. June 30th. At one point, this was like 75%. It's going to be 0. July 1st, at one point, is probably really high. It's like 83. That's 0. July 10th. Not 0. It's 21. July 10th was like, yeah, man, these were high. They're all in the 70s. Now they're down a decent amount. We are still fabulous. And it is kind of depressing. Okay, so like 2 more things in this AI topic as the last one. First and foremost, California Anthropic AI has announced they're entering a partnership to strengthen cybersecurity and provide Claude AI to state agencies and California local governments at a 50% discount. The Golden State helped build Silicon Valley, and every Californian should benefit from the responsible use of their latest innovations. I don't know what happens to this. Like, does every government agency, I probably can't let that show on the stream. Does every like government agency, every company, everybody starts subsidizing model use for employees, for citizens, whatever? I don't know. I mean, they got to do something to get this in the hands of normal people, and they got to do something to make the tensions around AI versus the people calm down. They really do. And so, I don't know. I thought this was kind of interesting. Gavin Newsom, of all people, with California. And one more tweet. China might very well be winning the AI race considering intelligence created per dollar of CapEx spent. Interesting thought process. There's a huge disparity in CapEx spending between US hyperscalers and Chinese hyperscalers on both an absolute and relative basis. CapEx spend as a percentage of OCF for Chinese CSPs remains much lower, yet Chinese open source models like DeepSeek, GLM, Minimax, etc. have recently become incredibly competitive alternatives to US models at a fraction of the token price. This is a problem. The June 13th launch of GLM 5.2 may have created another DeepSeek moment. This new model is almost equal to Anthropic as a competitor for the corporate market and is just 1/4 the cost in terms of cost per token. This has been echoed by many people the past week. Coincidentally or not, the queues peaked right after the June 13th launch and has since down 5% since. Other data points in the last week. 1. Data from OpenRouter, which shows models by usage, shows tokens requested from Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic fell to 33% in June 2026 from 72% a year earlier. It was 72%. Now it's 33%. Brian Armstrong said on Friday that Coinbase has cut AI spending by half, largely by defaulting to open weight models like GLM 5.2 and Kimi 2.7. Another shocking data point. Axios, CNBC, BBG, and others have said the GLM 5.2 is about equal to Opus 4.8 and 5.5 in terms of agentic capabilities, and it's a huge threat to cybersecurity. Sure. A large part of recent Chinese advancements is undoubtedly from stealing IP. Anthropic accused Baba of illicitly accessing Claude. We covered this with over 25,000 fraudulent accounts just a few days ago. But that doesn't exactly make it any less concerning and will definitely continue at least to some extent in the future. Perhaps the next $1 trillion our hyperscalers spend in 2027 will catapult US models ahead of the Chinese models. But after watching the last 12 months, it's becoming harder to argue that simply spending more is a durable competitive advantage. And like, okay, what happens? I saw some post that was like, you're telling me that Mythos is this destruction engine that's going to like break the world, but it can't tell when 25,000 bots are distilling the model? A little bit of a narrative violation there, right? Like, how does that work? If it's that good, how come it can't tell when it's being attacked? I don't know. But at the end of the day, I think it's an interesting narrative that's not being just covered that much on Twitter is like usage of all these models are down significantly. And there's no, it's very clear that China can continue distilling and American labs have shown no ability to stop it. And then if that's the case where they can continue distilling, how do you make 33% usage back to 72%? I don't know. Very unclear. Kind of scary for economics. And there's a lot of very smart people invested to make sure that they figure it out. So I don't know. I think distilling is super overblown. Here's the thing too, is like, if it is overblown and they're not distilling, that's probably worse. It's probably worse if they're not distilling, because then it means China's just like way further ahead in capabilities than we thought. And so from that, you could argue that that's worse, you know? So I don't know. That's where we're at basically. And here's where we're at on the market. Hype right now, putting in strong candles, 66.5. Bitcoin 60.2. Shaw's is 89.8. God, I'm fucking wrong. I'm like so tilted about that money. I'm not gonna lie. But a bunch of Shaw's. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a fucking fun one to follow tomorrow. And IBM 278.10. So that's where we're at. Chat, check Ansem coin. Fine. Nice. Quant, what percent of your bag do you still hold? Of Ansem. How much Ansem do you hold? Pause. Like 80%. Wow. How much Ansem do you hold? Pause. Pause. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a big week. It's going to be an electric week. Markets are closed on Friday, and threadguy is not streaming on Friday. So if today's any indication, we are going to have an electric week ahead of us. I also am thinking about opening the pit into a group chat. Maybe a mistake, maybe not. I don't know yet if I'm going to do it, but I'm just letting you know that's something that's in my head that I am thinking about moving forward. So we'll deal with that when we deal with that. But on that note, if you're new here, welcome. I love you. I appreciate you. I will be live tomorrow at the same time, 2:30 p.m. EST. I will catch you when I catch you. I'll see you when I see you. Big day tomorrow. Big day every day. I love you. Have a great rest of your day. Love you, motherfuckers. Peace.